G'day guys, welcome back to the Brown & Riders podcast, episode 61. We have a lot to talk about today. The suspensions over the weekend, of course. We have some surprise retirement news. We'll be taking a look at Hawthorn as well, and of course we'll be taking a look at the tips, the AFL fantasy breakdown, and of course our World Sports segment. So let's roll the intro and get straight into it. And then Rankin from the pocket, don't tell me, Isaac Rankin!
Yeah.
He's just got the license for a brothel.
Well, I think Gather Round's going to be more than just AFL. I think this is next season.
It's at the handle at the back, Nick Dacos to get the pies home! He's done it! So as always, joined by my brother in Jack. So, Anzac round, what a round it was really. I mean, we started with Melbourne and Richmond. That was a pretty crap game. The real start to Anzac round was between Essendon and Collingwood. What a game that was.
Yeah, it was, lived up to the hype, and I think with all the games this round, I think you just saw who the actual contenders are for finals and who are just not going to make it this season.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. The likes of like the Bulldogs and that, I think were pretty cleared. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it this year. They are pretty competent against teams that are around, below them or whatever. But when they get to the teams up the top, they're going to, I think, struggle. And on the likes of St Kilda, I think their shot.
They can't keep winning score.
Yeah.
Have you seen the damning stat that if they concede more than 70 points, they concede more than 70 points, they can't win?
That's not good.
That's a.
If you can't kick more than 11 and a half goals, you're not going to win games of footy.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
regularly anyway.
Yeah. So they just can't. They're just not going to be able to make finals with that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people picked that at the start of the year that St Kilda just can't do that. It just won't be able to get there again like they did last year. And because now they haven't banked the wins at the start of the season like they did last year, they're going to struggle now. I think Collingwood was still doing okay. We obviously saw the Anzac Day game. They look good. Essendon look good, but there's still a question mark for me because we've seen them perform for half a year for a while now, and then just don't show up for the rest of it, or they don't show up at the start of the year, and then the rest of the year they win some big games, and then they scrape themselves into finals, make up the numbers. So if they can perform for 3/4 of a season to a whole season, they'll be big this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, because I mean, they've only played really one and a half bad games, really.
Yeah.
They had a pretty poor, maybe against St Kilda, they had a pretty poor start to that, but other than that, I think
they've really only had one bad game, which was against Port Adelaide.
Yeah, Adelaide Oval as well, which is a pretty hard game to win, and they kind of got away with it against the Crows. But anyway, let's get into a couple of quick news stories. First of all, we've got a couple of suspensions to talk about. One was revealed today that maybe Outtro has been given one match for a hit behind the ball against Errol Goulden. I mean, it's going to happen now. You can't do that anymore. 1 week to Riley West. Oh, that was a pretty weak bump.
Most people are saying it wasn't a bump, and they're just saying that. Yeah, he should get off. Yeah, that he should get off.
I mean, I don't like the action, but he barely touched him. I think they'll be reversed. Like on impact, it's below
Low.
low. That's not going to get much. And then probably the biggest news story of suspensions this week is Jack Higgins, given 3 weeks for his sling tackle on Relier.
I think it's an overreaction.
You think it's an overreaction?
Yeah.
What do you think he should have got?
To be honest, I don't think he should have got anything. Maybe a week, because of the fact is that we've all seen the vision that Aaliyah was trying to kick the ball, and because of the momentum of him trying to kick it, Higgins dragged him down, and he was always going to look bad.
Yeah, I agree, but I think it had to be at least. I don't know. It's hard because I feel like this one's different to let's say Peter Wright. I know it's a very different obviously to Peter Wright, but I'm saying that Peter Wright braced himself or whatever. I don't, and he didn't take duty of care with Harry Cunningham. I think it's a lot different with this one on the likes of. I don't think Jack Higgins. It's not like he didn't have a duty of care with Aaliyah. He was literally in the momentum of tackling, and he just as Aaliyah tried to swing his foot onto it, he swung him down.
Yeah.
I think 3 weeks is an overreaction. I tend to agree with you. I do think maybe a week or two should have sufficed. I think that's pretty fair enough.
Yeah. I think if he gave it 2, St Kilda probably would have still challenged it, but you could see some ways that they could get it 2 weeks, but 3 weeks. I just think that the tribunal's either just going to chuck it straight out, or it's going to be a long process and you'll get a week.
Can the tribunal bring it down to a week? I thought they can't.
I don't. I think it's just going to be the matter of like the impact and stuff like that, because the resulting thing was because the result was a concussion. It's going to be hard to make it go away. In a way, I think it's going to be hard to throw it out because he get concussed.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. That's why I think they had to give him something.
Yeah,
but what was Jack Higgins really supposed to do in that situation?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I know people are going to sit there and say, "Oh, a couple of weeks ago we said that Peter Wright, Peter Wright really had nothing else he could have done. Peter Wright could have put his knee up and tried to mark the ball.
Yeah.
Peter Wright could have done something else. I feel like Jack Higgins couldn't have done anything else. It's not like he wasn't slinging him to the ground.
No.
He was tackling him, and because of the momentum of Elias swinging his boot at it, that's what happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think, look, it had to be a week or two because of the head injury, the head knock, and it's just unlucky sometimes. There's not much you can do.
We are still playing a contact sport.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I hear that argument. Sometimes people, I think, use it a lot of the time in the wrong way. It's like, oh, well, you're in a contact sport. You're supposed to expect concussions. It's like, no.
No.
I mean, look, it is inevitable. You probably are going to maybe get a head knock. You're going to get a head knock in footy. That's understandable. But if a player doesn't take duty of care when you're going back with the flight or that sort of scenario, then it's just not going to... You're going to get weeks for it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to take a duty of care. But I don't think Jack Higgins didn't take the duty of care that he was supposed to. I think he did everything he could. And it's just unlucky that the circumstances, the different circumstances that eventually ended up in Aliria getting concussed. So that's really all our thoughts on that. I think he's probably a little bit of overreaction, like you said. I think that's kind of fair enough. And he is a Port fan too, guys. So, just... obviously take
I'm
that.
pissed. I'm still pissed.
He should have been fucking given
No, I'm pissed that he got concussed because he can't play this week. But
that's the most.
So yeah, that should have been 5-6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the showdown coming up. Another interesting news story. Not for this game, but for the Adelaide Crows is the fact that Rory Sloane has retired effective immediately.
Yeah,
I think it's effective immediately. Yeah. So big news. Obviously, Rory Sloane was injured the last couple of years, and he's had a lot of injuries over the past 2 years or so. I know he's had a lot of stuff with his eye and other sort of stuff. So he's announced his retirement from the Adelaide Crows. Really big for them. I mean, he's one of the players a couple of years ago who could have decided to leave to go to St Kilda. He decided to stay at Adelaide and continue with the group. He was the captain for quite a while, especially when Taylor Walker decided to. Well, they took it away from him essentially. It's a really big loss for Adelaide. He's one of the better midfielders in the competition for quite a while. How many All-Australians he got? He got All-Australian... He was the All-Australian vice-captain in 2016. So in those couple of years when the Crows were right up there, he was... Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good on him for retiring. 255 games, 16 years of footy. So amazing for him. Great job. Good career from him. Missed out on the grand final. I'm not going to say I was disappointed. But at the end of the day, I mean, he's... a very good footballer, a very good person as well, I believe, and from what I've seen, and good on him. Congratulations, Rory Sloane.
Yeah,
Rory, fucking come on, bro. That's a bit of a child's name. How many adult people do you know who's named Rory?
Well, you got Rory Sloane, you got Rory Laird, you got Rory Lobb.
So unless you're a footballer, do you know anyone who's named Rory?
No, not many.
I don't think anyone does. You have any kind words to say about Rory Sloane?
I thought
he's stumbling because he's a Port fan.
It's hard to come up with a thing when you're biased because you're a Port fan, but he was a good player and he was a very good leader for the Crows, and he always played the role that. Well, he always played the hard role. I thought that. He would always play the captain's role, but he set the standards, I thought. So
he's very big as well when Dangerfield left too.
Yeah, when they lost those players over after the premiership or the grand final. They
What a premiership.
he was the one that did stay with them. That he could have just left like to St Kilda, like you said, but he stood with them and he got them at.
Well, someone got him out of it.
He's still there, still in there, but
I think it was probably the right time. I don't think he was going to be getting back into that best team nowadays.
No, you could see it last year. He was still not. He wasn't.
He was playing as a sub a couple of games
Yeah,
too, and he's not really a sub.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, I think it's the right time for him. Obviously, with the injury concerns, he's got a family now. I think it's fair enough.
Yeah, and they said that it could be permanent if he came back into football. So
what was the injury?
The eye injury.
Oh, yeah.
So it could be permanent. So you don't want to risk it.
Yeah,
and be
exactly.
And permanently maybe
Your eye. There's more to life than football, and I mean he's what 30. He'd be 33, 34. Still a lot
something
of life
like
to
that,
go.
Yeah.
It's pretty ancient for an AFL football.
Yeah.
But for the rest of your life, there's a lot more to go. Anyway, so this week, of course, the last game of the round was Sydney versus Hawthorn. Massive win from the Swans. Absolutely brilliant performance.
Pretty bloody easy.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It was a pretty easy win from Sydney. I watched that whole game, and at 3/4 time, I was on my phone getting ready to make the video because I was like, "We got this done, boys. We got this done." Cheers.
Well, they kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. No, sorry, 2 goals in the first quarter. The Hawks, and then kicked 1 goal in every other quarter. So yeah.
Well, did you watch the game? You were.
I watched the last 2.5 quarters.
Oh.
So Premisser.
So
most of the game.
You basically saw where Sydney dominated. Really.
Pretty much. They pretty much. Besides the fact that the Hawks actually showed a bit of grunt, it was when it was not needed in a way that.
I think it was pretty dismal for Hawthorn. I'm going to be pretty honest with you. I think it was fucking a dismal performance from them. Like, look, I think the reason why I'm bringing this up is not to just fucking say how great Sydney is, because I mean we beat the 17th team. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? I even said that in the review. But what I was talking about is last year, obviously, they did finish 16th on the ladder. But the big performances they had at the end of the year, people were thinking, all right, Hawthorn are going to improve and go on this year. But so far, it really hasn't gone to plan. They won 1 game, and it was against North Melbourne. Did they overachieve last year? Is that maybe the second half of the year anyway?
I think they did but it was mostly because they had the structure though. This year they've lost a lot of defenders. They didn't. Mitchell Lewis has missed a few games through injury,
and he missed that Swans game.
And he missed it. He was laid out, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was named in the team on Friday, and then was taken out Sunday.
Yeah.
A couple of hours before the game.
I think that they've had a lot of injuries, and for such a young side, they need the experience. Like we saw with West Coast, like we saw this year, they've played They've played good for last 3 or 4 weeks. But with the experienced players coming back into the squad.
Yeah, like Elliot Yeo and Jeremy McGovern and Liam Ryan came back this week. It was pretty bad.
Yeah,
but,
Waterman's come back in the last couple of weeks.
He's kicked 15 goals in 3 games.
Yeah, so you're looking at that and you think, if we compare that to Hawthorn, who's lost all their most of the experienced players.
Yeah, I think Luke Bruce is a massive loss for them.
Well, he pretty much guarantee you at least 1.5 goals a game.
Yeah.
And he'd give you a contest.
Yeah, he'd give you something up forward.
Yeah.
He'd always be dangerous. You always have to put a really good player on him as well.
Yeah.
So
I
do think injuries are a part of it, but they are not playing the football they were at the end of last year.
Well, like we were saying last year, it was James Sicily or bust. If he was playing absolutely brilliant football in the second half of the year. Yeah. And they won those games because of him.
Australian squad from a team who's 16th on the ladder.
Yeah, and they won games because of his rebound intercept game.
The main thing is he can't do that this year because he has to play on a man.
Yeah.
So I do agree that Sicily is it's not a big loss because he's still there, but he's not playing that role that he's accustomed to. He's having to play on a man. It's very similar to Sydney last year when they had all their injuries. And Nick Blake, he had to play on someone. He couldn't play his rebound role. Now, obviously, different players, but there's similar of like they want to intercept, they want to run, they want to contribute to the play forward. They don't just have to lock down. So, I think Hawthorn did kind of overachieve last year, the second half of the year, and I'm not just trying to sit here and bag them. But one of the big things I wanted to talk about was something that Sam Mitchell said after the game. And I'm going to be honest with you, Sam. I don't know why you said this, because during the game you were very animated and very angry because he was yelling in the box. He ripped buddy Jack Scrimshaw.
He absolutely shredded him.
Now look, I was like, look, if I was a Hawthorn person, I would have been pretty unimpressed by that little bit late in the first quarter. Like, why did you go through the middle of the ground in a dangerous moment when the Swans kicked 3 goals in a row?
Yeah, and about 90 seconds left in the quarter.
Yeah, it's like, just kick it down the line. Anyway, for some reason, Sam Mitchell said if you watched it without the scoreboard, you watched the boys in brown and gold, you would have said that they were having a crack. Look, they were having a crack, I'll give you that, but they also got beaten by 70 odd points.
Yeah.
And last week, I thought it was not a turning point, but I felt like last week they had a really good performance against North, and I felt like, okay, they haven't got the troops out there that they would like, but at the end of the day, they've still got players out there who can perform. They got Will Day back in the game. He looked okay, but they just didn't do much with the footy. Like, they just turned it over and they were like slow with it. They just didn't have that burst of energy that they had last year, and it was just a little bit soft to see. Not soft. They weren't soft. I wouldn't say that, but they just weren't playing that football that they were last year. They weren't playing that exciting brand of football where you were excited to watch a Hawthorn game, especially in that second half of the year, because you were like, they're going to bring something and it's going to be exciting. And against Sydney, Sydney just ran all over them. And I think Sydney were very good, and they brought their pressure rating was above, I think, 180, 190 for the majority of the game. And I did say that in the review. It was good to see as a Swans fan, because Sydney against bottom teams this year have been pretty poor. We lost to Richmond, and against West Coast, you saw it. It was fucking terrible first half. And even in the second half, they were okay, but not that good. But, I mean, I think Sydney played well, but I don't think that they played amazingly to win by 76 points. Let's just put it that way. So, I don't know. I think the Hawthorn, I don't have too many worries for them yet. They're still a very young side. They could be even nearly younger than North Melbourne.
I know there's been some games the rounds this year that they've been the youngest side in the comp.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I believe them a lot more than North Melbourne. I want to talk about them in a minute, because they're going to get... They've kind of got a I think they'll slide through this week, because no one really gives a crap about them. But anyway, I just think that, Hawthorn, a little bit disappointing, and I don't know who they play this week. We'll look at that more in the tips. I haven't tipped them, I don't think. But I think they have the Bulldogs this week, actually.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Which is an interesting game, you know. But... I do think that maybe Chol being out, it's not, I don't think that's a massive loss. He'll be out. But it was interesting. The crowd were getting into him as well during the game.
They were giving him. Yeah, so
they were giving him Bronx cheers and stuff. And I was like, look, that first half he was pretty poor. I'll give you that. But in the second half he did improve. And I mean, he was a pretty big recruit in the off season too. They were pretty happy to get him, and now. He's been okay so far. I wouldn't say he's been
I think it's been the fact is that Mitch Lewis has been out in a few games that he hasn't had he's had to take the biggest defender. Yeah,
and I will say the one thing that Sam Mitchell did, I don't know why before the game they did take out Mitch Lewis, but they brought Ramsden in and put him in the start.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get either. It's like, why? He's just not the...
They needed a third tall up there, because Jack Gunston wasn't getting anywhere near it.
Well, Jack Gunston's... What was it? He kicked 2 goals 7 this year.
Yeah,
but he's normally at least the other way around. So you'd think he'd kick 7 goals too, and they only brought him in because Hawthorn fans, members were pretty much begging for more experience in the forward line.
Yeah.
So,
which I mean is fair enough, but also he's got to be kicking goals. He's got to be. He's still got to be performing to warranted being in the
Then
team.
They started chucking him as the loose back. They're already down by 50 points. What's the point?
Yeah.
To be honest, you trying to get some more experience into these young defenders. To chuck a forward back as the loose, he's not really going to teach them much. He's like, oh well, he can be our saviour.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think if 50 points down already, what's the point of having a loose?
Yeah, I don't.
When Blakey went down the other end and was the loose down the other end and was the best player on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So he dominated that game for Sydney, and it was one of his better games this year. Not that he's played that bad, but I do think that was his best game of the year so far, because he just got to roam free.
Yeah,
and I mean, if James Sicily was able to do that, maybe they would be doing a little bit better. Who knows? So I do think injuries are a big factor for Hawthorn, but they haven't performed very well the last couple of weeks. Well, they haven't performed very well this year, other than against North. And
I think they're better. They're even that they won that game against North Melbourne. I think their best game was against Collingwood. I think.
Yeah, but even then they only played a half.
Yeah.
And it was Blake Hardwick who really dragged him over the line.
Yeah. Well, they tried that this week, didn't they? They tried him forward and then they chucked him back.
They had him forward the last few weeks, but he's only kicked 2 goals in the last 2 games. So, yeah, but they did train him in the whole off-season as a forward as well. So, yeah, anyway. Let's move on. We just mentioned North Melbourne. Let's bring them up again. Now, look, I don't hate North Melbourne.
You love bringing up North Melbourne, eh?
I don't hate them. I made a recent TikTok on it. Fucking got about 12,000 views, by the way. Fucking very nice. Go me. Anyway, does something need to change? What needs to change? Right?
Well, they tried it for a quarter against the Crows. Chuck Harry Sheasel in the midfield for fuck's sake.
Well, at least off a wing. At least he'll then be getting it inside the forward 50.
Because he's got no elite kicking skills,
which is very few and far between at North Melbourne.
To be honest, they're all the same. Davis Uniacke,
Simpkin,
Powell. Who am I looking at? Warlord, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think he hasn't played the last couple of weeks though.
No, I played in the game.
But they're all big. Well, maybe not Simpkin, but they're all big, bustling. They want the physical contact.
Yeah, the contested football.
And they can give you they can give you a few clearances through handball. But if you want the elite kick inside 50 to give to your premier forward in fucking Nick Larkey, who was pretty much should have won the Coleman last year if it wasn't for the other
Walker and fucking
Kerno playing. Yeah,
they would have won it. So I agree. I just think they charged him in there in the last quarter, but he didn't really play that well. He didn't really have much touches. I feel like I think he's too small to be a midfielder at the moment, but I think off a wing would be a great idea. I think he should be playing the Errol Golden role. He plays off that wing very well for Sydney. Now, obviously, Sydney are very... Oh, sorry. I don't want to keep on bringing up Sydney. Fucking with the best. Anyway, what they need to do is play him off a wing and use his foot skills, because they picked up Zach Fisher in the off-season. They played him as a sub. McKercher, by the way, played off half-back throughout the whole
He played pretty much the same role that Sheasel would play, and he got 32 disposals. Do that. Put Sheasel up on the wing. Even you look at the Crows, Saligo, he started off with the wing before he went into the midfield this season.
Exactly.
You look at Jace Burgoyne, he played on the wing all game this week, and he played probably the best game of his career, maybe the best player on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, look at wingmen now are very important as well. Like, who the hell's playing on North Melbourne's wing right now? Bailey Scott. And
even he's playing a good role in that team.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying Harry Sheasel is one of their best players.
Yeah.
And I mean the guy's 20. Play him off a wing. Stop putting him at half back. He'll get you 30 touches, but he's not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
He'll get 600 meters gain, but again, as soon as it gets to that wing where he's made the kick, they fumble it. They make a mistake. There's a turnover, and then they're just the other down the other end, and then they're defense. Let's be honest. What does Harry Sheasel bring to the defensive 50? Not a lot. Let's be honest. He's not he'll get you a kick in, which McKercher can do.
Yeah, McKercher's a good kick as well. So
I think that. Now look, obviously Alistair Clarkson. We're not going to question a guy who's won 4 premierships, really. But let's be honest. They got to do something with it. Harry Sheasel, something they need to do. I think a big thing as well is end of the year. Obviously they can't do it now, but by the end of the year, they need to say everyone who's over the age of 28, 27 at that club, if you don't want to be here down the bottom, we will let you go. But we get to pick where you're going. We understand that you want to leave this footy club, whatever. We'll get the best deal for us, basically. Cam Zerha, I understand that it's going to be funny if he leaves, because obviously the stuff we did about Jason Horne-Francis. Let him go. They don't need him. Let him go. There's so many players at that football club that they just have spent way too much money on that they don't need.
Well, for one thing, they should just get rid of Aiden Core. He's near the end of his contract, surely.
Well,
he's on way too much. Yeah, he's getting paid way too much money to play a nothing role. I reckon if you look back at his time at North Melbourne, he wouldn't be in the top 5, 10 players. Top 5 best players in any game.
Was he even that good a defender? I mean, he was a good defender for GWS. He was okay. It's that small defender. But at the moment, he's having to play tall because they don't have anyone else there. Yeah. So I agree that he's not that much good there. But at the moment, that he has to play a tall role because he's a...
Because North Melbourne didn't recruit a bloody tall defender. for the last 4 years. 4 or 5 years, they have not got a genuine
Like
tall
Will Phillips
forward.
is another one. Like, why did they recruit him when they could have picked up Logan McDonald?
Yeah.
Like, and look, maybe we would look at this, and if North Melbourne were in the same position, he would be going back to WA. He'd definitely be going back to WA if he was in North Melbourne right now. And that would be a bad loss for them, obviously. But that's the thing. I mean, I did, when I made that TikTok, someone made a comment of like, oh, okay, well haven't you come up with a solution? It's like, well, I don't know. I didn't know that North Melbourne were in that bad a state that I have to be the one who makes the solutions for them. But, I mean, look.
We're right here trying to make some solutions for him. And
one would be play Harry Shearsall off the wing at least. At least be that outside of the defensive 50 arc.
Yeah.
Get him out of there. He doesn't need to be there. Put him in that wing role so he can get the ball forward.
Yeah.
Like, if they're going to... I don't know why they put Fisher as a sub. He's not a good sub, I don't think. But put him as the halfback. Put him at halfback this week. Put McKercher on the other halfback line. And let them be the kickers. Alright? Charlie Comben, let him be the centre halfback. I think he's going to be worth it. Newen, look, I think he can be something, but he's got to look like he actually is interested in the game. I feel like there's a couple of opportunities where he's not. I think they should be playing Toby Pink. I don't know why they brought him in if they're not going to play him. Like, I think, who cares if he plays in the VFL? Just put him in. At least he's a tall, and he's a decent defender at least. Like, look, he's probably going to get beaten by the big, bustling, tall forwards occasionally. Give him a go. Alright, they need a tall down there. I think that's your defence with, like, Luke McDonald and Aiden Core. I think that's probably your defence. That's what I'd be saying.
That's your 7. Yeah, that's probably your 7,
Your
mate.
six,
It's someone else, yeah.
Yeah, you know, play Bailey Scott running off the half-back line. I think Curtis, what's his name? Curtis Taylor? Is that him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's injured at the moment, though.
Oh, is he? Okay.
I think so.
I thought he was in the VFL. If he's in the VFL, put him in the fucking team. He's a decent forward. Anyway, Paul Curtis is like, fine, keep him in the team. Nick Larkey's fine, obviously, keep him in the team. But, like, there's players like Davies Uniacke talking about maybe leaving at the end of the year. Now, look, I think that Davies Uniacke is a very good player. But you have so many of those midfielders now. Ask for a top 5 pick for him. And then you use that pick to trade for a big player. Like, look, end of the year, they're going to have pick 1. Obviously. They're not for vision player. Now, look, I'm coming up with a solution here. Now, look, people can say, oh, you're an idiot. Fine. But at least I'm thinking of something here. Because they've got to do something radical. They've finished second to bottom or bottom for the last 4 years. Nothing's changed. Maybe you have to make a radical decision. Right now, I think they need to grab, like you said, pick 1. They don't need pick 1, okay? They already know the draft this year is going to be pretty heavily midfield based. They don't need another fucking midfielder. If they bring up another fucking midfielder, I'm going to fucking scream. They don't need another midfielder. So I'm saying right now, pick 1. If David Uniacke wants to leave, by the way, if he wants to stay, obviously you keep him because he's a very good player. But if he wants to leave, you get a top 5 pick for him. You put them on the table to every single club in the competition, and you look for either a key forward or a key back at that club, and you say, we'll give you this and this. We want one of them key defenders or key forwards. Right now. That's where they start. And you, let's say, like scenario, it's GWS, Jack Buckley, or Sam Taylor. One of them. You offer them the bank. Okay? Even if you have to cut the wage of fucking Aiden Core, Dylan Stevens, Zach Fisher, like that they brought in the last few years that are just getting way overpaid. You cut their wages and you make him basically the first $2 million player if it's Sam Taylor, $1 million if it's Jack Buckley. Okay? I know this is radical, I know this sounds stupid, I know this is like a clickbaity fucking footy classified moment. Okay? That's where I'm going with it here. One of them 2 is a key back. You give them the bank. You give GWS pick 1 and 2. Okay? I know GWS may not take that, but if you offer one of them to the bank, maybe they get enticed by big money. And they could be the future captain of your team for 10 years to come. Obviously, it's a radical thing. Or you go to Port Adelaide, you say to Mitch Georgiades, hey, we'll make you an $800K to $1 million forward, and you build off of them 2 with him and Nick Larkey for 10 more years. Because I think Georgiades would be a good foil for Nick Larkey. Because right now, it's Larkey or bust. They have no one else up there. By the way, Cam Zerha, if he wants to leave, you let him go. Get a top 15, 20 pick if you can. I think he's probably worth around that. Trade him to a big club. I don't know if it's Collingwood, fucking Essendon, or Melbourne, or whoever the fuck wants him. Okay? You trade him out, you look for a big pick, and then you trade that pick for something you need.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. And look, again, I may be completely wrong. I may be completely off. Okay? But I feel like now, if they keep on using their draft picks, pick an established player. I really think they need to cut right back to the point, like almost to the point where the Giants were right at the start. They picked up these experienced players, but they also picked some younger guys like Phil Davis, Callan Ward, right at the start of their career. Made Callan Ward the captain. And then pick players like that who are going to build your team in the future. Because look, they're not going to make it in the next 5 years. Let's be real. They're not making finals in 5 years. So let's build from that. Let's go, okay, we're going to pick a midfielder. We're going to pick a forward or a key back who's 23 to 20, 25, maybe at the oldest. Make him a huge amount of money. I know. Fucking, you have to get a team there with money. I'm sorry, your team's that bad. You need to fucking throw the bank at someone. Okay? Give the team that you're getting rid of 2 big draft picks. Maybe even the Gold Coast. Maybe look at one of their defenders. Or one of their forwards. I don't know, but just that's an idea here. Throw it at them. Say, we want this guy. You're going to be our captain. Okay? And you are going to lead us back to the promised land. Okay? That's how they're going to do it. Because right now, picking up these midfielders who, you know, are going to give you maybe 20 touches. They're going to be a big player. Like, Wardlaw, I think, will be a big player. You know, the players that they're bringing in the last couple of years, like Sheasel, like McKercher, I just said his name, Wardlaw, you know, those players like that. They'll be good players, and they'll be very good players, obviously. But right now, they need to pick someone who's an established footballer who's going to be there for the next 10, 15 years. Because right now, who do you think's their next captain? Nick Larkey, maybe? People are saying, like, Dennis Pagan, I think, came out today and said Harry Sheasel should be their captain next year. Yeah. It's like, bro, like, can you let the guy rest a bit? Like, he's already got the carrying this team on his back. Now you want to give him the captaincy at the age of 21? I think that would fucking demolish him.
I think that'll be the Jack Trengove of Melbourne.
Yeah. It's like, don't give him the captaincy. Let him fucking... I mean, is he even in the leadership group? I don't even think he's in the leadership group yet.
I think so, no.
So give him a leadership group role, and then maybe think about that. But right now, they've got to do something radical in the trade table. Because they went for, like, Josh Kelly for, like, a couple of years, and he didn't want to go. Which is, like, fair enough. He was, like, 25 at the top of his game, and he wants to win a premiership. That's fair enough. Right now, if you go for someone the age of, like, 21, 22, 23, 24, who's a key position player... Nick Larkey would love that if it was a forward, and North Melbourne's defence, whoever the hell it is, would love a fucking key back who's going to be good. Don't pick someone like a Joel Hamling who just went to Sydney or something. Like when they pick up these players because they just can, because they're basically not in their best 22 of the side they're in now, like Dylan Stevens, or whatever. Don't just pick them because, oh, well, shit, they're there. We need to show that we're doing something. Go look for something that you need. And I know that because the key position players aren't really there. I know it's tough, but you got to do something. Like, they didn't even go for Mabior Chol really last year, did they? I don't think they were in the real talk about it. I mean, the Crows were and Hawthorn were. Like, why didn't they look at him?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been a good key position to at least have someone there to be with Nick Larkey. But they didn't do it.
Yeah.
They didn't look for a key back last year. Now, look, I know Ben Mackay left, but he was always going to leave. They should have been setting up plans to replace him quickly. And look what he's done this year. He's actually been pretty good for Essendon.
Yeah, exactly. We could just talk all day about how badly their recruitment's been for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And we could be here for another 3 or 4 hours doing it. But I think it's just being a dead horse at the moment.
Yeah, I just don't know what they're going to do. Like, I feel like something radical like that. Like, look, I don't know. Do you think there's any sort of gold in that little rant that I had?
Oh, I think they've just got to throw the bank at some big defender. I think they need a defender more than they need a forward at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's their weakest line. I mean, even in their forward line, they've got some players. They've obviously got Larkey and Curtis.
I think as long as you can make a big contest forward, your smalls can go to work.
Yeah.
And Larkey can give you that. Curtis can take a good leap.
Yeah, I agree.
They just got no one... If you get the big bustling forward in a Charlie Dixon, a Tom Hawkins, and they're just gonna kick 5 or 6 goals and have a field day.
Yeah. Well, we saw Taylor Walker. He kicked 2, but he had a massive day against the Crows.
Yeah.
And the other ones just all filled their pockets. And then
Like they even rested Hawkins against North Melbourne.
Yeah.
They thought, oh, we're not going to risk it. They probably want Port Adelaide will come up against North Melbourne. I think in about 3 weeks they'll rest Dixon.
Yeah.
Because
there's no need to rest.
There's no point. There's no point of risking injury.
Yeah.
But if they do play, they could have a 10-goal game like Taylor Walker had last year against West Coast.
West Coast haven't played against North Melbourne yet, have they?
No, they play him in a.
Well, Jake Waterman's gonna fucking have a field day.
Yeah.
Like he's fucking big. He's looking fucking like fit. He's looking strong.
Yeah.
Don't have a crush on him, but still.
Even Darwin could kick a fucking bag on him at the moment.
Yeah.
He's in the worst of form, and he could have a.
He's getting better.
Yeah, but by the time they come up against North Melbourne, he could kick 7.
Yeah.
With their defence.
Yeah, right now, exactly. And look, it's obviously not a quick fix, but I mean, they're going to get the number 1 pick in the mid-season draft. Like, let's be honest, who are they going to pick up? They're not even playing Toby Peng. I don't think they're going to. I mean, obviously, the mid-season draft's very good, I think, for some top teams and like middle teams, but for bottom teams, it's, I think, pretty tough. They can come in and have an impact. Like, Marek had an okay impact for West Coast last year, and is playing okay this year, but. Like, even in their mid-season draft, they're not picking good players, North Melbourne. Like, who did they pick up last year? I don't even know who they picked up.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I mean, I know Port picked up Quinton Narkle. I know that West Coast picked up Ryan Marek. You know, I do remember, I think it was one of the first mid-season drafts they did. They picked up Jake Edwards, who they just delisted.
Yeah.
So, they're not... For fuck's sake. Let's just move on, because we're going to be just fucking ranting about North Melbourne all day. And by the way, I don't hate North Melbourne, but you can't sit there and think that they are doing the right thing right now. You can't. Surely not. If you're a North Melbourne fan, really let me know what your thoughts are. And don't just come and say, oh, you fucking hate them. Tell me what your thoughts are about North Melbourne at the moment and what you think they need to do. I asked that on the TikTok and there was like a bunch of North Melbourne comments going, oh, you fucking just hate, you're such a hater and fucking all this sort of bullshit. Are you really happy right now with how they're going? You couldn't.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel here. They're playing dreadful football, and most of them aren't putting any pressure on.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So one of the big talking points after Anzac Day, because obviously it was a draw, was people were saying that there should be extra time.
Yeah.
Do you think there should be extra time?
No.
Why?
Because of the fact in a home and away season. They're already complaining that they don't have they're playing too long anyway. They don't want to play an extra 5 minutes each half, so they're not going to do it anyway.
I think an interesting point was someone who person on the Channel 7 Plus show. There was a new woman on it. Adam Cooney's on it with Cam Luke or something.
Oh, it's a Georgie Parker.
I think it's her. I don't know. It was some woman or anyway. She's on the thing. I don't know. I can't remember what the show's called. It's like Catch Time.
Armchair
Experts, that's what it's called. Yeah, she actually made a pretty good point. Something that would happen is in the last 2 minutes of the game or something, it would take away the atmosphere of teams trying to get a goal as well. Like, teams wouldn't, why would you try and push for the goal or the score when you can just get ready for extra time? Like, it would take away the atmosphere of it, which I think is a very good point.
Yeah,
Obviously, you need it in finals.
Yeah.
And grand finals, as we fucking know.
Yeah.
Never should have been a rule that fucking grand finals don't have extra time.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the thing. And obviously, I think that would be an interesting. That's a big factor. It's like it would take away the last 2 or 3 minutes of the last quarter in a big game, like in a home and away season, because a draw can. Because if there's no draw, then people are just gonna obviously camp it or just fucking kick it around and take it to the next quarter. I mean, you see it in the NFL, in the extra time. They don't take risks.
No.
There's no risk in it because they're going to get extra time. And obviously, NFL is a bit different. Like, you only have to kick a field goal and hold it for a couple of minutes and then you can win the game. But in football, I think it would take away the atmosphere of it. So I don't agree that we should have extra time as well. But if there was extra time, who do you think would have won that Anzac Day game?
Oh, I think the experience of in a close game, I think Collingwood would have taken it. I reckon.
Yeah, I can't agree with you. All right, let's move on. I know it was a little bit quick, but let's just go to the next segment. And it is our fan favourite segment. Back for another week. The Flog of the Week is back. Yeah.
It's back, guys. Get excited. Anyway, so we didn't have many nominees this week. People were pretty well behaved. I think they're starting to notice, like, oh shit, we can't get voted for. These guys just rip shreds into them. Anyway, we had a lot last week. We took probably my nominees so far in what's his fucking name? Josh McLean. See, no one remembers this guy's name. Anyway, he's not the nominee this week. So this week, I was gonna go with an article with Zero Hanger. They didn't get it because they basically made like a clickbait title of saying like Elliot Yeo has rival interest, and then in the article it says, "Oh, there's no rivals at this moment." Cool, bro. They almost had it. Also, that Sam Mitchell comment was thought about, but I quickly dismissed it. I was like, look, it's not really a flog act. It's just a pretty weird thing to say. The one I've given, the flog of the week this week is the umpire in the VFL who for some reason didn't have their eyes open. So if you don't know, an umpire in the VFL this week, this week in the VFL, a Brisbane Lions VFL team was up against Southport.
Yeah.
And one of the Brisbane players having a shot for goal. So he came in, he was about 45 metres out, 45-degree angle. He came in for goal, kicked over the man on the mark. And
Which is Boyd Woodcock, who used to play for Port Adelaide.
Nice shout out, Boyd.
Yeah.
Join the podcast. Come on. Sure you're a mad listener. Anyway, he was on the mark, and what he did was actually very smart. What he did on the mark was he jumped up and clapped his hand.
And did you see what else he did?
No.
He clipped it. He touched his feet, his boots together at the same time as he clapped his hands. So he clapped. Yeah.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He should be drafted this year.
Yeah.
He's actually been quite good for Southport. I've actually looked at him. He's actually played quite well.
Yeah.
So Port shouldn't have got rid of him. He's clearly an upcoming Brownlow medalist. Anyway, so he did that. The kick was about at least a metre.
I think it was about 2 or 3 metres over him.
He was over him. Like, I think it was another body would have not touched that ball. I'm going to be honest with you. And the umpire said it was touched. Now, obviously, in the VFL, there's no score review. You can see in the replay that that's missing by a mile. I'm sorry, but if the umpire gets fooled by a clap and a foot tap, what are you doing?
Well, do you think it will come into the AFL? Like, will players start doing that?
Oh, they probably will. But with the score review, you would think the score review would see it.
Yeah, you'd think.
Anyway, I think that's pretty fucking flog act, if you're being
Well, I think it's pretty...
oh, look, I'm not giving it to Boyd Woodcock. Good on him. He fucking jumped up and fooled the umpire. Good on him. Should be pick up for the mid-season draft just for that.
Well,
smarts.
He's played pretty well since he joined Southport. I think at the start of last season he started there.
Has he been? I think he's been there longer than that.
Maybe the year before that, but he's only been there 2.5 years though.
Yeah, but I think that I just think it's dumb of the umpire to not. He's clearly not paying attention.
No, because you can all right. You can give it if it was less than a hand length, but come on,
even a finger. I think if you're not watching,
the umpire should be able to see it from a metre and a half high,
and he should also know the difference between a ball hitting a finger and the ball and a guy clapping his hand and tapping his boots.
Yeah.
So whoever that umpire is, I don't know who it is. Do you know?
No.
Anyway, that umpire is the flog of the week.
Well, yeah. Well, he'd probably be umpiring the AFL next week. So.
Oh, I'm sure he's right. How bloody bullshit is it that Ray Chamberlain's doing these such shit games?
Oh yeah, I know. Where's his prime time games?
Yeah, where's his prime time games? That's the real flog of the week. It's collector of the umpires because fucking hell, he's playing these bloody shit games right now, and it's not good enough. Anyway, let's move into our tips for round 8. Big round 8 this week.
Are we calling it rivalry round?
It's not rivalry round, is it?
Are we calling it though? You've seen some of the games. I'd say half the games are rivalries.
I think 3/4 of most of them are, other than the West Coast and the Perth game. Basically the Perth teams. Most of them are pretty well rivalries. Yeah, I mean, we'll call it pseudo rival round this week. All right, pseudo rival round, and it starts. Finally, these two teams have a showcase game. Really, really to show off the rivalry. Adelaide versus Port Adelaide. The showdown Thursday night. So I've tipped the Crows against Port Adelaide. Friday night, I tipped Collingwood up against Carlton. Saturday afternoon, I've picked the Giants over the Swans in the Battle of the Bridge. Saturday afternoon, evening, I've picked St Kilda over North Melbourne.
Saturday night, I have picked Geelong over Melbourne. Saturday night as well, I have picked Essendon over West Coast. Sunday early game, I have picked Fremantle over Richmond. Sunday mid-game, I've picked the Bulldogs over Hawthorn. And the final game of round 8, I've picked the Lions over the Suns. Who have you gone with this week?
So to start off the round, the showdown, I've went the Crows over the Power. On Friday, I've went the Blues over Collingwood. For Saturday afternoon, I've went the Giants over the Swans. Saturday afternoon, also, I've went the Saints over North Melbourne. Saturday night, I've went Geelong over Melbourne. And the other Saturday night game, I've went the Bombers over the Eagles. For Sunday, I've went Richmond over the Dockers. Then I've went the Bulldogs over Hawthorn. And the last game, I've went the Suns over the Lions.
We've got a couple of big ones this week that we have not picked the same. Alright, we'll start with the showdown. This will be a quick one. Basically, the reason I've picked the Crows here is two reasons. One, the Crows have a very good record against Port the last few showdowns.
Mm-hmm.
But the main reason is the injuries.
Yeah.
Rosie's most likely out. Sam Pepper is out. And Alir is out. I think the Crows are going to have I don't think it'll be a comfortable win. I think this will be a very close showdown, which it should be. And hopefully it is. Hopefully it is for the showcase of it. I do hope it is a close game. I know you probably don't. You probably want a flogging for Port. But
I hope it is, but I think it's going to be the other way around.
I
reckon the Crows are going to flog us.
Yeah.
I reckon it could be a 30+ win for the Crows.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well could be.
The fact is they lost their captain, their best player pretty much all season. I think their best pressure forward in Pepper, and perhaps their best defender.
Alright, next game is Carlton versus Collingwood. So the basic reason why I've gone Collingwood is Carlton last week showed me something that hearing their head in their game, wiggling its little head up, and it's their bombing forward to Curnow and Mackay. It's got to stop. They keep on bombing long to these guys, and against fucking North Melbourne, against the bottom teams, they'll have a field day. Who cares? When they're playing against good teams, it's not going to work, like it did against Geelong. Now, Geelong obviously didn't have Tom Stewart, but they do have a very competent defence. So if you just bomb it on their heads all day, they're not going to perform. So I think Collingwood's defence will hold up very nicely, and I think that Carlton, if they don't do that, if they actually lower their eyes a bit and Curnow and Mackay actually start to lead, because that's something as well, they're not actually leading enough, I think. I think both of them are calling for it long when they need to lead up and hit at the kick out. And if they just bomb it long to them, Collingwood will just have a field day.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen, so that's why I've gone Collingwood. What are you gone?
Well, I went Carlton because the press conference after the game from Michael Voss, he absolutely ripped their defensive attributes from the whole game. And I think they'll get to it. Cripps and Walsh in the midfield with George Hewitt will show the brutality of their midfield. And I think one of them, Hewitt or Kennedy, will go to De Goey and shut him out. And I think the ruck duo of De Koning and Pidnet's working at the moment. I think.
Pidnet had a massive game.
And I think that's going to work well against Cameron and Cox because I think that'll work for them. That's their problem, is that they're going to keep bombing it long to them. It's getting a bit more spotlight on it the last couple of weeks, that they might start lowering their eyes. If you lower your eyes, it does work. And I think they're going to start doing that this week.
That's the game, by the way, guys. We'll definitely be streaming. I may do another one this weekend. We'll see how it goes. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Sydney Smash, the fucking Battle of the Bridge. What a game. Sydney versus Giants. This is going to be a big game. Second versus third as well. I think this will be a big game, though. But I do think the Giants are going to get players back. That's kind of where I've gone them. I do think that Toby Green will obviously be back. And Sam Taylor should be back.
Yeah, Sam Taylor should be back. Caniglio, maybe?
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But even so, I think GWS cover their midfield pretty decently. I am a little bit interested to see how the Swans play here, because this is probably one of their bigger games they've had. It's probably the big game that they've had probably in the last month, really. They had the bye, they had West Coast, they had Richmond, which they lost to, and obviously they had the Gold Coast, and recently they had Hawthorn. So they've had a pretty easy 5 weeks. They had a really tough start to the season, which they performed really well at. But since then, this is probably their biggest game. So, considering I haven't really seen them against a big team, that's kind of why I'm a little bit less confident on Sydney. So, I think the Giants will win, and I think the Giants have looked good the last couple of weeks as well against better sides.
I think it's going to be one in the midfield like most games are. And
the matchups in this game are insane.
Oh,
McCartan on Hogan, down the other end you got Taylor on, the McLean, and fucking Iden probably matches up on Hayward. Just every single matchup, the midfield battle, that's going to be massive.
Yeah.
Grundy versus Briggs. I think this is a really big game. It's a game to watch. I mean, even if you have a KO subscription, this is a game you need to watch. And it sucks that it's on at 1:15 on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move to Sunday. So, I wasn't going to talk about these games, but with two surprise tips for you, I've tipped two favourites. Richmond versus Fremantle. Is this because it's the MCG, basically?
That, but it's also the fact is that I think that they're going to be more brutal. I think they're going to show a bit more fight, the Tigers.
They've been off the last few weeks.
I think they have been. And I think this is the game they're going to respond. And I don't trust the forward line of the Dockers.
Well, basically the reason I picked Freo is Richmond's just got too many injuries. They lost another one, Jacob Hopper, this week as well. So that's basically where I'm going at for that one. Then finally in the Pineapple Battle, what's it called now?
It's the Q Clash, isn't it?
Oh, the Q Clash, isn't it? I remember they called it the Pineapple for a bit. I think they should call it the Pineapple.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So in the Battle of the Pineapple, rolls off the tongue. Why have you gone the Gold Coast here?
Because I don't trust the whole team of Brisbane at the moment. I've trusted them so many times, even at home, and they can't win at home. The two games they've won have been away. So, but I think that if they want to get a win and put themselves in the map, Gold Coast, they've got to do it. They've got to somehow win this.
Yeah, I mean they won the Q Clash last year.
Yeah, and that was
the first time in a while. So they've got the monkey off the back now.
And that was at home. So they're going to try and do it on enemy territory, and I think they can do it.
Yeah, well, I think this is something that the Gold Coast need to do because they've won 4 games this season, and all of them have been at home, and all of them have been against lower teams. So they haven't really beaten a big team yet. I think it's probably their biggest team yet if they were able to beat them away as well, because obviously they haven't played very well away. We've seen that. They've been pretty flat track bullies for the last couple of years. Well, really since they came into the competition. But they're making the Fortress at home, which is good, but they still need to win some games away if they want to make finals this year.
Yeah.
And I've gone with Brisbane basically on that fact. The Gold Coast haven't shown me much away from home yet. They didn't play that well in the games away from home so far this year. Yeah, I just think Brisbane, I think they're kind of due. I think they're kind of due for a big game, and they will get questioned this week.
Yeah, I also, you got to look at it. Their midfield for the Lions is just getting smashed.
And the Gold Coast do.
And you got the big brutal midfield of Miller, Anderson and Rao. So I think if they win that midfield battle, they could have a field day. It's not a game that really is close, these battles. Even when they won last year, the Gold Coast, they smashed them. Yeah. So I don't know. It's either going to go either way. Yeah. But it's either going to be a smashing of the Lions or the Gold Coast, and I think the smashing is going to be the Gold Coast side.
Well, guys, that is our tips for this week. Make sure to let us know down below who you think is going to win, if your team is going to win this week or if your team is going to lose. You are allowed to tip against your own team, but you still barrack for them as well, okay? So I'm kind of putting my money...
We're both doing that this
week.
Putting
my money on both sides. I'm putting my money, splitting it between red and black on the rule.
Like I've always said, I'd rather get 8 tips than tipping the Crows.
You mean tipping Port? Oh, well, you mean... Yeah.
Tipping the Crows this week, yeah. And
Okay.
Port win,
Yeah.
then get 9 and the Crows win this week.
Yeah, same as me. I'd rather get 8 and the Giants beat us. Or 7. I don't really want the Crows to win either. But anyway, let's move on. So let's talk about AFL Fantasy Breakdown. So this week, I won. What a win it was. It was a real fucking David versus Goliath battle. I was against one of the top teams. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the team itself. So Harry Sheezer was my captain. I did forget to put Max Gawn as my vice. Didn't really affect me in the end. I would have won it by a little bit easier, but doesn't really matter. Hayden Young was good. Good defensive week. Yo was a little bit meh, 82, but I'll take it. Midfield performed well, thank God. The last few weeks I've had the terrible midfield. Tom Green, 127 was good. Nick Martin with the 113. He's been good all season. Miller got 100. Davis Uniacke, thank God he had a good last quarter because he got about 64 at three-quarter time. Walsh, when I just got him in, he got 102. He probably should have scored better, but I'll take it. Bontempelli's a bit of an interesting one, but I think, he had his response game the week before, so anyway. Brodie Grundy. We'll talk about this in a minute, but thank fuck he had a decent last quarter. My God, I was sweating for a little bit. Tom Powell. Oh God, 34. And then a couple of other forwards did pretty poor. I was happy with Wilson's game. He got 92 as a forward, and Sam Flanders has performed all season. Now let's talk about the movie
let's talk about the script, because the script was insane. All right, so I know you're looking, you're like, fucking, this is insane. What happened? Okay, so on Saturday afternoon, North Melbourne played against the Crows. McKercher had a blinder. I had him on my reserves list. I was pissed. He had 109, and I'm like, oh fuck, I need to get him in the team somehow. So what I did was I saw Jai Clark on my bench. I was like, look, he's not playing this week. So I was like, who am I going to take out here? Is it either Jeremy Sharp or Matt Roberts? So I was like, I'm going to take out Jeremy Sharp. That's 70 points my way, because Jeremy Sharp got 39. McKercher comes into the team, obviously, is my emergency. 109. Jay Clark doesn't play. I get that 70 points. Go me. Okay? Then we get to Sunday. So, Will Graham, 80 points. I see him at three-quarter time. He's on about 60. I'm like, okay, he's going to be doing okay. So I think about it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go with Will Graham into my team. So what do? I go, well, I have Caleb Mitchell in my defence, who's, not going to do much. So, and he played for Sydney, who's obviously the last game. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to put Caleb Mitchell into my team, and I'm going to take the 83 of Will Graham. At the time, I thought this was fucking big brain as fuck. At the end of the day, and Matt Roberts, by the way, at three-quarter time was on about 50. It wasn't on much, maybe even 40. He got 82. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really that big brain. But the McKercher one, I win the game because of that. So big brain, go me. All right, so my score in the end was 2,094, which ranked in the round 7,000. So, I mean, I'm going to take that. That's probably my best performance of the year. So, good on me. But the reason for that move, though, we usually talk about that later at the end, but I have to talk about this game. I won by 15 points. Go me. That's the reason why I win. I'm sorry to Colin. I beat your ass, bro, with the big brain plays. And look, if you were working on the weekend, I'm sorry. Quit your job, because this is more important right now. Anyway, let's talk about my trades just quickly. So this week, I've kind of gone for cash development a little bit. I got rid of Jackson Mead finally, and I hope for the love of God I don't have to bring him back in as a reverse trade. I feel like that's enough. By the way, he got 53 as the sub, and he came on, I think, in the last quarter. Maybe
2.5.
Well, oh no, he played a half, didn't he? Because Alito got subbed out.
Yeah,
So he played a half. 53 and a half. Bro, could you not have done that for me when he was in the team? By the way, he scored more than like 3 of my forwards as well. So I'm like, oh. So look, he'll come back this week. He'll probably be 80, and I'll be like pissed. Anyway, got rid of Mead, got Harley Reid in. Should have never got rid of him in the first place. I think with the week off, he's due for a big game. I think he'll be pretty big against Essendon. So okay, and then I got rid of Jeremy Sharp. Now I wasn't going to get rid of him. I thought he could have been in my midfield as like an 8 mid at the moment, but with that score of 39, he actually lost cash. So I thought, all right, it's time to get rid of him. He's not going to generate anymore. And I picked up Jake Rogers. Now I just want to mention one more thing. Earlier in the podcast, we were talking about McKercher. I think that they're going to put Harry Sheasel more into the midfield or wing. So I think McKercher is a stay for now. I think he's going to be in that mid. He's going to get that halfback Sheasel role. I think he's going to get some points. We saw that what happened against the Crows.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big one, and he will be in my team this week. Now at this stage, I got my vice on Sam Walsh against Collingwood. That may change. My captain is on Max Gawn, because the one thing that Geelong didn't have in the weekend was a good ruckman. Old Reece Stanley got dominated by Pitnet. So I think that Gawn could have a big day. But if Sam Walsh does well against Collingwood, I'll take the vice captain score. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm looking at this week. What have you done?
I had a shit week. I had an absolute shit week. I got 1988.
I just don't know how that feels. That's pretty good. 1988.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know you
lost. Even though I lost, yeah.
You played against the team who scored the highest this week. I saw that.
Yeah.
Inverted banana.
So yeah, I had Clousey, who had his shittest game, got 59. Not happy about that.
Yeah,
Sharp in my team, 39. Not happy about that either. Tom Powell, 34. Shithouse. Dempsey was on 32 at quarter time. He finished on 50.
Yeah, I was watching that game in the stream, and I was like, where's he gone? Did he get subbed off at quarter
and
time?
Hugo and Garcia for St Kilda he just didn't. It wasn't. He just I don't know. And the worst possible move was because I worked on Saturday and I didn't see that Zach Fisher was the sub.
Yeah, they kind of mentioned it a couple of days ago earlier. I think Tom Morris reported it. So
I'm not going to trust that anyway. But yeah, that just shot me. And the stupid thing was, he came on about halfway during the third, and he got 34 in the end,
Yeah.
which you would have taken if he played the full game. He'd probably get on
He'd
that
probably get
record.
80 or
He'd
70.
probably get you 75, 80,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have won anyway. But you know, because pretty much the funny thing is, the guy that I played this week had 5 different players to me.
Oh, so we've
5
obviously
players
copied you.
different.
Yeah, he's
So it was pretty much I was
He's copying you more than you copying me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk
But
about
I
the
did,
trades.
yeah. Luckily, I did have Gorn as my vice, so I just took that score. So, and I had Howes on my bench. Who got 80.
You still have him.
Yeah, I still had him. He's still good. When he doesn't have to play on someone, he's actually a good scorer.
Yeah, but I mean, he's clearly not that good. He's on the fucking bench for you.
Well, when I had Clousey going well, I kind of wish I changed Zach Fisher for that anyway. I should have put him on the bench, but that was yeah. I would have So in the end, my trades this week are I got rid of Gallagher for the Bulldogs. I got Jake Rogers.
Yep.
And then I got rid of Zach Fisher, and I got Sam Walsh.
Sam Walsh. All right, so you're looking to get. So yeah, I think Sam Walsh can be pretty big in this week because he's just over 900k now. I think.
Yeah, he's 926, so
Yeah,
he's
so he's not too high at the moment. Like he's got 100 each week, so
Yeah.
you can take that as a midfielder.
And so far, I've done the same as you for this week. So I've got Sam Walsh VC and captain on Gorn. So
Okay, so that's pretty much what we're looking at. So let's look at the league then. So just because I was pretty happy about it. So at the moment, I'm in 12th spot. I'm going up. All right, I am the Collingwood of this league right now. All right, that's what we're gonna be looking at.
you only got percentage 1 point less than 1% more than me. That's why you're ahead of me.
Because I'm cracked. I've won 3 of my past 4. Get on it. Anyway, 3 of my past 5. Sorry. Anyway, so looking at the league right now, I am in 12th spot. You are in 13th spot. Let's take a look at the top though. So Brad SCG, a Swans fan, clearly is a genius. He has won every single game so far. He's undefeated. He is on fire right now. Shillings for Billings is in 2nd spot. They're doing very well. And then the guy that I beat, sorry Colin, I knocked you out of 2nd spot. I know you were in 3rd last week. But anyway, I did enough and I beat him at 3rd spot. Go me. I'm a Titan beater. Go me. Anyway, so that's top 3. And Inverted Banana, who you lost to, was in 4th spot. So,
Yeah, well, he's won his past 5 games. So
He's on-
I had him on the
you had him on a hot streak.
Yeah.
It was hard
Yeah.
to beat anyway. So, looking at the ladder as well, the overall stats, Inverted Banana, the guy you did play, is the highest scorer so far.
Yeah, ranked in 3,025. Nice.
Jesus Christ, good on him. Oh, he is too. Far out, dude. Good job. We got some fucking... Yeah, these guys just want to win the fucking BR Designs posters, which we'll talk about in a second. Brad SCG, who's top in the league, is the 2nd highest. Surprisingly enough, the guy who's in 10th spot in our league is the 3rd highest scorer. Seymour Bush. I just saw that. Fuck, I'm dumb. Anyway, that is a very good name. Shillings and Billings is in 4th spot and is in 2nd in the league. And then another one, down in the bottom 8 of our ladder, 1 spot above me, the Fifinator. Oh, I love the name, bro. He's in 5th spot. And then Kega Boom is in 6th spot right now. Looking at me, I'm actually in... I'm in 12th spot in the overall ladder, and you're in 13th spot in the overall ladder, the second in the league. So we're in the spot we should be right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically the ladder. And this week, who do I play? I play Serial Squirrel. You guys have the most insane names.
I've got Shillings for Billings again. Fuck off.
So you got the guys in top.
I'm playing too many good teams at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the fixture, Jack. The fixtures has got you.
Yeah.
It's unfair, clearly. The random fixture that they give you. Anyway, that's basically everything we have with the AFL fantasy stuff this week, guys. Make sure to let us know how you feel about your AFL fantasy team as well. And if you are in our league, make sure to let us know who you are and how you're going, because right now I'm on a hot streak. 3 out of the last 5 games. So that's basically all the football stuff we have this week, guys. So we'll quickly cover some world sport. We'll go to the Premier League. And Liverpool have bottled it.
Yeah, we bottled it.
They've bottled it. They've given Arsenal still a chance, but Liverpool, last couple of weeks, they've got.
And it's starting to show on the field now.
Yeah, out of the last 5 games, they've gone draw, lose, win, lose, draw, and a draw again. A loss to Everton was not ideal.
No.
Let's be honest. So, looking at the matches that we've just seen over the week, Nottingham Forest lost 0-2 to Manchester City. Why the hell is that like that? Anyway, Arsenal won 3-2 over Tottenham. Bournemouth won 3-0 over Brighton. 2-2 draw between Villa and Chelsea. Everton won 1-0 over Brentford. Everton fit form at the right time, just so in case they get another point deduction. Wolves won 2-1 over Luton Town. Sheffield United lost 1-5 over Newcastle. 1-1 draw for Burnley and Manchester United. Burnley are making a late charge. Fulham 1-1 against Crystal Palace, and then 2-2 draw between Liverpool and West Ham. At West Ham, it's not an easy game, but it's a game that you need to win if you're going to be winning the title.
Yeah.
So Arsenal, they beat Tottenham 3-2, so they haven't bottled it just yet.
Well, they nearly did 3-0 up.
Yeah. I mean, they nearly did, but they still held on, unlike Liverpool. So you can't blame them for that. So there's only a couple more weeks to go in the season. Manchester City still have a game in hand. So that's obviously that Arsenal are still a bit concerned. If they lost it from here, like let's say City won all their games, Arsenal lost all their games, would you say they bottled it? Arsenal.
I'd still say yeah.
So you think they should be winning the league right now?
Who they got left? Because who has City got? Because I think because they're going to play Tottenham again, don't they?
So City have got. Let's have a look at the fixture. Doesn't come up for me straight away, does it? All right. So they have Wolves, Fulham, Tottenham, and West Ham on the final day.
To be honest, City should win it. City should win.
Arsenal have Bournemouth, Manchester United at Old Trafford, and Everton.
Yeah, I think if City don't win it, they bottle it. So yeah,
Okay.
it's yeah.
But over the whole season, Arsenal, I mean, not like last year. They lost it with like a couple of rounds to go too. Like they completely lost the plot after Christmas
Yeah.
as well, because they like had a good lead, like an 8-point lead or something, and just got demolished. And Manchester City just ran over the top of them all day. Now, to be fair to Liverpool, even though they have kind of fucked it up in the last couple of weeks, they weren't expected to be anywhere near the top of the table.
No.
Because they had, obviously this has been like a transition period of like the likes of Mane leaving a couple of years ago, and a couple of other players leaving as well over the last couple of years. Basically one of the only few left were Van Dijk, Alisson, Robertson, Salah,
Alexander-Arnold
as well. But even he's like evolved since then. He got a young player when they first started. Now he's a mainstay in the team. Liverpool have made a big transition over the last couple of years. So I don't think if they weren't in this position, they wouldn't have bottled it. No one would have expected them to be this close. I'll say that. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a bit of a bottled job they've done in the last couple of weeks.
They shouldn't.
As soon as you said a couple of weeks ago, they're going to.
I knew at the minute I said it, I knew they'd fuck it up.
You should have taken it back.
When they should not have lost the game against Everton, and they shouldn't have drawn the game against West Ham.
Yeah. They did waste some opportunities in those two games as well.
Yeah. So
that's just the disappointment part of it. Let's go down to the relegation zone, because it is really heating up down there with a couple of games to go. There's still 3 games for every single team, so they're all on level pegging right now. Nottingham, Luton Town, and Burnley are the only 3 who could change. Sheffield United have officially been dropped out of the league, and it has been confirmed, obviously, that Leicester have got promotion after they nearly fucking bottled that too. they hit a couple of wins. So right now, Burnley are the ones in the form out of anyone. So looking at Burnley, they're actually, where are they? They're 11th on the form guide, so not the greatest. But the other 2 teams in Nottingham and Luton Town have got terrible form right now. So looking at Burnley, they're 2 points out from safety. Do you think they can do it?
Do they play Nottingham?
They do in the last day.
I'd love it to come to that game. I'd love it too. Is that at Turf Moor or is that at
Forest? I think it's at Forest. I'll just have a quick look. I think it's at... Oh, no, it is at Turf Moor. But the thing is, Burnley haven't played well at Turf Moor all year. All season, sorry. So, looking at it, Burnley's last 3 games. Newcastle, Tottenham, Nottingham.
They've just got to hope that they've got a chance on the final day.
Yeah. If they can get 2 draws out of that, though...
To be honest, against... What would you say, Newcastle, Tottenham?
Yeah.
That's possible. They could at least get a draw out of both of those. They could.
And they've got a draw at Old Trafford against United, so they're a chance. But look, I don't want to get too. I don't want to get, because I did for Luton. I was like, they're a chance, and then have just dropped off the face of the planet. Their last win was against Bournemouth a couple of 4 games ago. So Luton's last 3 games, Everton, who are in hot form, West Ham and Fulham. Out of the 3 teams right now, they have the best, 3. I feel like they could do something there, but they're just not in form. They just have not, they've hit form at the wrong time. That's why I feel like Burnley are a chance, because they actually are in form. They've only lost 1 game in their past 8.
Yeah.
So, and look, there was 1 draw as well where they shouldn't have fucking drawn. When the goalkeeper completely fucked it up. And it's sad because the goalkeeper who's came in, because Trafford was their goalkeeper for quite a while. As a YouTuber I watch who's a Burnley fan, that's why I kind of know what's going on with Burnley. But they've kind of replaced Trafford with the guy who was very good in the Championship last year for them. And he's done really well, except for that moment, which cost them 2 points, which right now would have got them
Out of it.
They're by goal difference. So let's quickly look at Nottingham Forest. Actually, they are probably the better run. They've got Sheffield United next game. The one thing about it is though that Sheffield United now don't have any weight on their shoulders. They are.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah.
So there may be a little bit of freedom on them. Who knows? I feel like Nottingham will win this.
Well, they just need 1 game. They need 1 win. Well, to be honest, they need 1 win. One win does it. If they draw one of the games, I think it still gets it through. I think 3 points clear. Well, it wouldn't. Yeah, it would be probably 3 points clear. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're 5 points away from Burnley, who are the real challenge. They'll be 4 points away from Luton Town, but I don't think Luton Town are going to do much yet. I think they're really pretty resigned to going back to the Championship. I would like to see a team survive because I would like to see one of the relegation teams who got promoted last year survive.
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty boring if all 3 go back down. So their last 3 games for Nottingham is Sheffield United away, Chelsea at home, and then Burnley away. They
could win them all. They could win them all.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It could be anyone. Right now, I don't want to be I would like to be hopeful. I'd like to think the relegation battle is really still there. But I just think Nottingham will get a point and get away.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of all we got today for the podcast, guys. Thank you for listening and watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to leave us 5 stars. And also make sure to follow so you're notified on the review and the podcast. And thank you so much for the support on the channel recently, guys. Again, I really do appreciate it. We just released part 2. We're recording this on Monday. We saw the first couple of hours of support for it. And it's one of the best. It's basically the best start we've had to a video. So thank you so much for it.
Thanks, guys. It means a lot.
I made the video. That's why he's not as thankful.
Yeah.
But I am really thankful. And he is. All right. Thank you for listening, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll catch us all next week.
See you later, guys.